In our younger days, we built and sailed trimarans. When we got married, we dreamed of sailing the world.
As we look forward to retirement, our dream is becoming real. We chose a Seawind catamaran, or maybe she chose us.
And after a lifetime of dreams, our boat finally arrived. We are shaking her out in the Chesapeake Bay and along the mid-Atlantic coast.
We christened her Moments in Time, reminding us to cherish each moment. The sea is calling. Come share the dream.
The Great Delmarva Circumference. It is a great trip. You get to travel the entire length of the Chesapeake Bay. It includes an offshore coastal passage, usually overnight in the mid-Atlantic. You get to travel the entire length of the Delaware Bay. You get to traverse the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal. And you get to experience all the people and all the water lifestyles along the way. Join us on this third leg of our journey from Kiptopeke, Virginia, up the coast of the Atlantic Ocean to Cape Henlopen, Delaware, at the mouth of the Delaware Bay. Okay, Wednesday. Rainy. Supposed to rain most of the day. The wind's supposed to be 10 to 15 knots, gust up to 20. I think we're going to leave here in a couple minutes and make the run out into the Atlantic and sail up the coast. We'll probably be an overnight sail, and then we'll sail into Delaware Bay and see where we're at. Dreary day. It takes a lot for all the things to line up for champagne sailing. Sunny skies, mild temperatures, wind in the right direction, wind at the right speed, wave conditions at the right height, and a little champagne. Very rarely does that happen.
I'm so excited!
Why?
Because we're headed out to the ocean. We're actually going to do this. Up to the Delmarva, through the Delmarva Circumference.
Well, that was a kiss of death. We are motoring just to get our wind angle. Once we get through this very narrow pass at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, we're going to raise our sails and set our course. That sun looks promising, but I know that weather's swinging around and we're going to get rained on. But so is life. Right there is where we have to go. That's a narrow pass in the ocean. We just slowed down. We're kind of spinning circles here. There's a huge cargo ship coming in, headed to Baltimore, and I'm not going to try to squeeze in while that ship's coming in. So we'll let her pass, give her plenty of room, and then we'll bebop through the strait and be in the ocean. That is where the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic Ocean meet. You can see the tide line here. This is where the ocean and the tides are changing, and the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic are mixing. Pretty cool. The ship's holding me up. I wanted to be out of here before the tide turned. When you're close to the channel, these ships are screaming by you at 8 to 14 knots. However, while you're waiting for them to get out of your way, they seem like they're only going 2 knots. Our turn. Entering the Atlantic Ocean. Once that marker passes me, we're in the Atlantic. There it goes behind my head. And now we're in the Atlantic Ocean. We're sailing out in the Atlantic. We raised our sails. One of the reefing lines got tangled, and looks like a destroyer. Warship, I think 13, hailed us. We had to stop. He told us to keep clear. Believe me, I was going to keep clear of him anyway. So we're just sailing north till we get permission to tack again. He's well behind us. I don't see any issues. The sun trying its best to shine. I gotta tack east and get in some deeper water. It's quite choppy out here. As soon as I find a good angle, I'm taking it. It's 11:30. We're at the mouth of the bay. It's a little bit choppy out here. We're looking for deeper water. We're about 4 miles off the coast and we're in 22 feet of water. So, I mean, we're trying to head out deeper. So we're sailing like due east. That will knock this chop down a little bit and then we'll set our course up north. Maybe have like a reach on the way up north. That's the plan anyway. "111 nautical miles to go." We're about 4 miles off the coast of Virginia. About 31 feet of water. Still trying to get into deeper water, but at least we're making leeway up north. The winds are blowing 13 to 15 knots. We have one reef in it, and we're moving along quite comfortably. Well, not quite comfortably, but okay. I'm really impressed with the way that the Sea-Wind 1260 hulls, the bows slice through some of these rollers. It's pretty amazing. I mean, if they were wider, like some of these charter Marans, would be porpoising like a dolphin, pounding and all that. But we're moving along pretty good. So let's hope everything continues smoothly. Tony was catching up on some sleep in preparation for our upcoming night watches. We were sailing very nicely north. The auto helm was doing all the work. We had it set to the wind angle, so all we had to do was keep watch. Still sailing north-northeast. Wind still blowing about 12-15 knots. Right now we're averaging about 5.5. We were averaging 6.5 to 7.5. The winds are dying just a little bit. So we'll probably be like this all the way till dark. We'll see where we are at sundown. There's some some rain coming in. I can see it off in the distance. That doesn't look good. So did you have a nice sleep?
I did.
How you feeling?
A couple hours. I feel okay.
Yeah, this is nice sailing. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been out in the ocean, but this is your first time, so what do you think? Outside of the Bahamas.
Oh no, it's not bad. I'm not sick. I've been able to eat. I did take Dramamine this morning, so, you know.
But the 1260, those narrow bows, I'm just amazed how they just slice through the waves. They don't rise up, they just kind of go right through it. So it's been kind of comfortable. I mean, what do you think the swell is? 4 to 5 feet? I think about 6 to 8 seconds apart. So it's not been that bad. And we're averaging about 6 knots. We had a late start because we took out unnecessary tack. It was a U.S. Navy ship make us get out of their way. We weren't in their way, but they wanted, you know, like a mile clearance. So we had to take an unnecessary tack, and then we had to tack back in to get our wind angle. And that cost us an hour and a half, 2 hours, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so, but we're doing okay.
We also waited for that other ship to come in.
Yeah, that took 15 minutes to wait for that cargo ship to come through the pass.
It was longer than that.
Was it?
I think so.
Maybe a half hour, but no more. So we're just passing north of Hog Island. That's Virginia. Over there, about 8 miles, 10 miles to the mainland.
There's been no sun really, but it's been windy and rainy and at times. It's not raining now, but yeah.
What's weird is I haven't touched our course since this morning. Once we set the angle, yeah. We're sailing, we're using an auto helm, we're sailing on the wind angle.
This is Coast Guard Cutter Eagle, channel 16, over.
We're using the auto helm obviously, but we're sailing on the wind angle or the wind vane setting, and she's been doing pretty good. We're gonna have to start making some nighttime plans here. We just saw some dolphins, thought they might have came up and played. They were just off the bow. Of course, by the time I grabbed the camera and made my way up to the dolphin seat, they're gone. This was about the best we can do for a sunset. As the evening approached, we prepared a simple meal, all cooked in a microwave. Chicken tenders, a reheated crab cake, and some microwave rice. Wow, this is what nighttime sailing looks like. Nothing. Let's take a view of the cockpit. The red lights in the saloon and cockpit allow you to maintain your night vision and still see. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to get your night vision. If somebody turns on a bright light, you will be blinded for that long. Nothing to see here, folks, but you're missing the beautiful, beautiful stars and Milky Way, which we haven't seen in a long time. We're about, I guess, hold on. We're about 8 miles up of Chesapeake. The time is 8:50, and we're just trucking along. The winds continued to decrease throughout the night and early morning. We got sunshine. At 5:30 this morning, the winds kind of dropped to like 8 knots. We kind of lost a lot of ground. I shook out the reef, so we got a full main, and then we unfurled the screacher for the very first time. It's helping a little bit, especially more directly down when we go. And on this particular tack, we're kind of rolling with the rollers, so that's helping a lot. But we got so close to Delaware Bay, maybe 30 miles, and then the wind kind of died after sailing up the coast all day yesterday and all night. But we have no agenda today, so if this screecher gets me close, I might have to power up the motors. Unfortunately, Delaware Bay, there's not a lot of great anchorages there, and I really don't want to sail all night on the Delaware Bay. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up. The C&D canal is all the way up the bay. We're not going to make that today. What the hell are you doing?
I'm trying to get a signal on the antenna.
Is it working?
It did, look.
Damn, I don't even have a signal. That's what we get for cruising offshore. No cell phone signal. We're just moseying along about 3-4 knots. Seems like we've been sailing all day on the Delaware coast. At some magic hour, we're going to fire up the motors to see if we can find an anchorage. Delaware Bay is not friendly to many anchorage spots. Let's check with Admiral Tony. Find us any secret anchorages?
No, there's the breakwater right at the mouth of the bay, and then there's some anchorages right at the mouth of the C&D across from. Nothing sounds good according to the cruising guide. And then there's general anchorages that I can't find. What they say, there's regulations on them, and I can't find those.
You can resume your own navigation.
Well, we'll be lucky to make it to the breakwater anchorage. Nah, we'll make it. We'll fire up the motors. I hate motoring. Cape Henlopen, a spit of land sticking out into the mouth of the Delaware Bay. Our intended anchorage is right there by that lighthouse, just on the other side of the beach. Passing the harbor of refuge light at the mouth of the Delaware Bay transitions our passage from the Atlantic Ocean into the Delaware Bay. We left Kiptopeke on Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning. We sailed out on the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, the southern part, sailed up the coast in the Atlantic Ocean, and we sailed all day, and we sailed all night. But at 7:30 this morning is Thursday, we were at the boundary, we were at the Delaware border, off the coast, at the Delaware border. The winds died. We spent all day sailing up the coast of Delaware. Delaware's not a big state. But at some point we ended up motoring the last 10 miles because we wanted to get into the Delaware Bay and dropped an anchor. We dropped the anchor at Cape Henlopen State Park. Let me show you the anchorage. You got a beautiful lighthouse there. Come around, this is called Breakwater. That's the mouth of the Delaware Bay. This is Cape Henlopen, right over there. Right there on the other side of that spit of sand is the Atlantic Ocean, so we didn't come far. And this is Cape Henlopen. As a kid, I camped here and I walked here, and there's still some old bunkers and observation towers for a submarine watch. During World War II, they had observation towers up and down the east coast to spot U-boats. So we're not very far in Delaware Bay. Delaware Bay is not the most abundant with protected anchorages. Tomorrow I think we're going to wake early, and depending on the winds we're going to either sail 51 miles or motor to 51 miles up to the C&D canal, and hopefully we can time it right to catch the tides, and then that's another 20 miles through the canal. And I'm hoping by tomorrow evening we'll be back into Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. It's going to be a long day tomorrow, but Delaware Bay is shallow, strong currents, no anchorages, and gets quite choppy. It's nothing like the Chesapeake Bay. Yeah, I don't like Delaware Bay. I'm finding that out more and more. But this anchorage hopefully holds the night, and we can get an early start in the morning.
Peter and I were so excited about making this trip up the coast. He's done watches on extended passages, but I need practice. And it was also an opportunity to get out onto the ocean. And I loved it. Overnight, the sky and the ocean were beautiful and peaceful. And as morning came, we saw some occasional fishing boats headed out, and the sunrise was just stunning. It was so surreal. I do think Peter and I need to work on our watch schedule. He was hyped up and couldn't sleep. I should have laid down earlier instead of staying up with him, and then relieved him sooner than I did. I did about 2.5 hours maybe of watch by myself in the early morning.
The offshore passage now behind us, we rested at our protected anchorage at Cape Henlopen. As it turned out, we needed all that rest in preparation for our transit through the Delaware Bay and back into the Chesapeake Bay the next day.